Well, it just so happens that I happen to have a nice little food web or food chain up here, and I want to give you guys a better understanding of all of the different trophic levels that are here because it's really important to understand them in order to understand how energy flows through an ecosystem. So let's take a look at what we've got here. Obviously, the main source of energy for this, if you take a look at this diagram, the main source of energy comes from sunlight. Sunlight is being taken in by the grass and the trees, also known as producers. Those producers take in that sunlight, perform photosynthesis, and create energy out of it. Those grasses and trees are then eaten by the grasshopper. That grasshopper would then be considered a primary consumer, right? It's the first level consumer within the food web or food chain. So the grasshopper is going to eat the grass and trees and gain only 10% of the energy that is stored within the grass and trees. The other 90% is either lost as heat or just simply lost to the environment in many different ways. So we take a look here. The grasshopper is then eaten by the mouse. Now the mouse level is known as a secondary consumer. That is, it eats the grasshopper. You see how we go primary, secondary. So the cat then would be known as a tertiary consumer or third level consumer. And the coyote, which eats the cat, is a fourth level consumer. Now something to consider is that each time you go up a chain, 10% of the energy is transferred. So let's say, figuratively, that I start off, I'm going to move over here, 1,000 joules of energy. The amount of energy that's going to get transferred is simply 100 joules. That's 10% of 1,000. But as we continue up, 10% of 100 is 10 joules, then 1 joule, and then 0.1 joule. All right, joule is just a unit of energy that we use in science class. So if we look here, we can see that 1,000 joules of energy, only 0.1 joules actually makes it to the top level consumer. Well, this is a problem. So we need to really consider how these levels are made in terms of the number of organisms. There's many more grasses and trees than there are coyotes. So something to consider as we continue through this unit is how many of each organism there are and how each level can support each other. That's called interdependence, that idea that each level supports each other. So think about it. If we took out the grass and the trees, what type of impact would that have on the rest of the pyramid? Well, it'd be a negative impact for sure because all of the energy that's input into this food chain starts off with the grass and the trees. If these are gone, the entire ecosystem collapses.